50 Cent Diddy, and the recording that changed everything isn't a story about gossip, tabloid rumors, or fleeting headlines. It's about power, timing, and control in an industry built on both, and how one private moment can ripple across decades of influence, rivalry, and legacy. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson didn't scream, threaten, or leak the video himself. He didn't hype it on social media or use it as leverage in a feud. He simply confirmed its existence, a recording tied to Sean Diddy Combs, filmed just days before a federal arrest, as a Netflix documentary he executive produced was about to drop. That single acknowledgement instantly transformed long-standing industry tension into a high-stakes battle over who shapes the narrative, who tells history, and who decides what the world gets to see. The video, captured in early September 2024, shows Combs in a hotel room, calm but visibly tense, speaking plainly about needing help from people familiar with the dirtiest of dirty business, before uttering a line that would reverberate far beyond the walls of that room. "We're losing." 6 days later, federal agents arrested Combs in New York City. The footage itself doesn't predict the arrest, nor does it explain it, but its timing makes it feel unavoidable, like a slow-motion domino effect where every frame, every word, seems to mark the first step in a chain of events that would forever shift perception. Over the decades, Combs has faced allegations of coercion, intimidation, and abuse of power behind closed doors. Allegations that, honestly, quietly reshaped his public image. Civil lawsuits, former associates' testimonies, and insider accounts described environments where influence blurred consent, where silence was enforced through fear, leverage, or just social weight. And though not every claim resulted in conviction, the sheer volume painted a complex, uncomfortable portrait of power unchecked. Jackson, ever the strategist, declined to reveal how he obtained the video. He offered no sources, no backstory, and did not confirm if Combs knew he was being filmed for this purpose. He simply acknowledged its existence within the documentary. That silence, or maybe that precision, triggered a media storm. Combs' publicist reacted immediately, claiming the footage was unauthorized, private, and tied to unfinished projects, legally protected from distribution. They argued Netflix had no right to release it and demanded it be pulled, alleging that any disputes over payment between outside parties did not transfer permission to use private material. Netflix, backed by director Alexandria Stapleton, stood firm, explaining that the video was legally obtained, that the filmmakers had protected their source, and that Combs himself had documented his life obsessively over decades, leaving a trail of self-filmed material that could legally be incorporated. Suddenly, two competing narratives collided. One framed the footage as private, personal, and exploited. The other framed it as lawfully obtained, contextually essential, and necessary to tell a story about culture, influence, and accountability. At the center of both narratives was Curtis Jackson, both mediator and gatekeeper, fully aware of the weight his words carried, and the storm his confirmation would ignite. In interviews, Jackson framed his decision to speak as a response to silence. Remaining quiet, he argued, could be misread as comfort, as consent, and as complicity with a culture that too often avoids its uncomfortable truths. Jackson emphasized that there was no personal feud at play, only historical tension rooted in decades of divergent philosophies about power, influence, and legacy within hip-hop. Their history stretches back more than 2 decades. In 2003, Combs handed Jackson an MTV Video Music Award on stage, a moment captured by thousands of cameras, two giants, smiling, shaking hands, briefly sharing space in a public spectacle. Yet behind that image, their paths diverged sharply. Different alliances, different business strategies, and different approaches to control and influence shaped the men they became. Jackson's public persona, someone who never relinquishes narrative space, applies here. He doesn't manufacture drama, but he doesn't retreat either. When attention focuses, he responds strategically, letting curiosity, speculation, and timing amplify tension rather than overplaying his hand. The stakes of this video, and the narrative surrounding it, are enormous. 6 days after it was recorded, Combs was arrested on federal charges including racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation for purposes of prostitution. Months later, a jury acquitted him of the most serious counts, but convicted him on 2 lesser ones, ultimately resulting in a 50-month sentence. These outcomes complicate the story. The footage doesn't resolve guilt or innocence, yet it reframes perception, turning an ordinary hotel room into a crucible of prelude, a single line into a haunting echo. We're losing. Critics argue that including such footage risks sensationalism, manipulation, or ethical overreach. Supporters contend it provides rare insight into mindset, decision-making, and the atmosphere preceding events of enormous consequence. Between those extremes, the audience is forced to reckon with what it means to witness something never intended for public eyes. Curtis Jackson's role is pivotal. He is neither moral arbiter nor judge. He is a producer, a gatekeeper, and a strategist who wields influence over what is seen, how it is interpreted, and when. He understands fully that the stakes of storytelling in hip-hop are not merely artistic. They are deeply political, social, and cultural. For years, Jackson has argued that hip-hop culture often hides from uncomfortable truths, that silence acts as a shield, and that time functions as an eraser. In his view, accountability doesn't arrive organically. It must be forced into the light, carefully, deliberately, and strategically. His participation in this documentary is thus principled as much as it is calculated, a deliberate effort to shift the lens without losing control. Jackson never promised answers, only a refusal to pretend nothing happened, a spotlight on what silence might otherwise erase. A private sentence spoken in a hotel room is now a public event. A decades-old relationship of rivalry, alliance, and mutual influence is being re-evaluated under the lens of timing. A video never meant for release has become the centerpiece of conversation, forcing audiences to watch, interpret, and decide. This isn't about drama manufactured by headlines. It's about how history, power, and proximity can make one simple recording seismic, how a single lens can shift perception forever, and how Curtis Jackson, by staying silent until precisely the right moment, controlled the narrative without ever losing grip. Some recordings don't need commentary to linger, they need only existence. And once they exist, stories never truly end. Moments never fully recover their original meaning, and the balance of power, history, and perception is rewritten in real time. In this case, one camera, one line, and one confirmation by 50 Cent became a prism through which decades of influence, rivalry, and cultural accountability are viewed anew. It's a stark reminder that in hip-hop, and in life, control of the narrative is as much about patience and precision as it is about visibility and presence. The ripple effect of this moment will continue long after headlines fade. Scholars, critics, fans, and peers alike will dissect, argue, and theorize over what it all means. And yet, Jackson's strategy ensures one unassailable truth remains. He didn't rush the story. He didn't force it. He let timing, proximity, and circumstance do the work, allowing a private moment to evolve into a turning point in public consciousness. It's a lesson in influence, strategy, and the power of letting a story speak for itself. Some recordings, some moments don't need explanation. They simply exist, and in their existence, they change everything.